Friday nights during the fall. Six-man fans gather to watch a sermon of grit and determination be delivered by 6 men, 10 minutes at a time, 4 quarters a night. Here you'll find the quarterback, also the linebacker, and the kicker, where iron sharpens iron, where hard work pays off, and where 6 are won. Now for your host of 6 is 1, Coach Goldman.
Welcome back to 6 is 1. Glad to have you all back this week. With us we have Coach Crumpton from Milford. How you doing, Coach?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you?
Can't be any better. I have to say, just kind of nice to have a couple of home games for myself. So that it was good to finally play at home. Our first week at home was like this week, so that was good.
Us too. We played at home first time.
There you go. So, Coach, we always like to start off by getting a little bit of backstory. Tell us what brought you to Milford, the path, and kind of how you got into just coaching in general and teaching, and how you got to where you are.
Well, I'm born and raised Milford, so
okay.
That's kind of what helped bring me back, bring me to Milford, but. Whenever I started college, I was a radio television broadcast major, and I went to a small Mennonite college in Kansas to play football. And I played there a year at Bethel College, and when I came back, I really didn't know what I was going to do. I sat out a year, I did some night classes, and a friend of mine told me to let's go to Tarleton. So I went to Tarleton and talked to a counselor, and well, what do you want to major in? And I said, I guess I want to try to be a coach. And a lot of that influence probably comes from the coaches I had in high school. Coach Kevin Ray, he was my coach in high school, and Don Klingenpill, who just recently retired at Milford from a superintendent's position. They coached me pretty much the last few years of my high school, and so I just I want to do what they did. So I went to Tarleton for 4 years, and I had the opportunity to start my career in a wonderful place, Mullen. I was a Mullen Bulldog under Leonard Buffy, and between him and his wife, I learned so much about the game of football and about education, how schools are run. And I had the opportunity after about 3 years to come to Milford. I wasn't the head coach to start out, but I was the head track coach, which whenever I was at Mullen, I just had my main head coaching responsibilities was the basketball. So, but over the years, you learn so much from people. I'm still learning. I had the opportunity after about 9 years at Milford to go coach with Darian Dover at Rising Star for a few years, and after 2 years, I came back to Milford. I've been here ever since. I think this, if I'm not mistaken, I'm starting my 27th year, I think, in the business, and it's just kind of flown by. So I've been blessed. So I've really enjoyed it.
Well, being with a program that long, which is, I'd say kind of, would you find it, I think, unusual? I mean, a lot of coaching can be a bit transitory in the sense that, people, but being with a program that long, what have been the biggest changes that you've seen just within your school and school system and the way to, your program? Or has it been pretty much, if you took a snapshot today, it wouldn't look any different than 30 years ago?
Well, I think, and just where we're at Milford is a little different than, those schools out in, like at Mullen and Rising Star, where the kids, they work a lot in the fields and on the farms and stuff. But, at Milford, just being here for, I guess, out of the 26, previous years. I've been here 19. So, I've evolved myself. Kids are different, but they're still kids. I think if you can get past, sometimes they have that sense of entitlement. But a long time ago, it used to be, whatever you said, then that's what it was. And now, for some reason, they want to know, well, why is that? You have to guard. I really try to guard against saying it's because I said so.
Yeah.
I really think like this generation, you get more out of them if they kind of know going in and they know ahead of time, what's what, instead of just saying just because I told you so. Well, there ain't no reason.
Yeah.
That's kind of what you get back.
Yeah.
So, but I think over the years, like just with the generations, that's been what I've noticed. I think myself, I've evolved as a coach, and where I used to always think we have to line up in a T formation and just try to run the ball down people's throat. But if you don't have kids to do that consistently, why continue to try to do that?
Yeah.
I personally like being around because I think the student athletes, they trust you and they know that you're going to be there. And it's real easy to me to keep your system going because the kids are so familiar with it, and you can add so much stuff because they know that and they're familiar with what you do. So that's what I see.
Yeah, I'd say there's definitely some advantages to longevity or having the same system. I was blessed to get to be the junior high coach for a long time in our program, and I think that's where I want to wind up someday. I'm hoping to get demoted.
They can be, they're fun. I mean, it's you never know what they're going to say or what they're going to do. And how they they're still real impressionable too. We've had fun with ours and seen them just in the 3 games that we've had the opportunity to play this year. Just see them grow.
Yeah.
We hadn't had anybody real spectacular. It's just all of them kind of working together to collectively, do better. And that's what we've seen. They're really fun.
Yeah, it's a good age, good hearts. I like to say you catch them right before that testosterone kicks in, and but what I found always interesting about junior high football, and I remember this one years ago, Coach. I got my start officiating. It's kind of a weird way to get your start, but anytime you had a kicking scenario and you were being taught as an official, almost every film piece they pulled up was a junior high film, because if it was going to be weird and it was going to be, can never happen, it would happen in junior high football,
That's right. You're right.
And as an official, you'd get these scenarios and you'd see these guys, even the veteran officials, 20, 30-year officials, be like, I have no idea how to call that. The guy kicks the ball into the center's butt, it bounces off, it goes back, you got a holding, you got a personal foul, you got everything going on.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we had a center one time snapping in the shotgun that snapped it between its legs, and it came back over the top of his head.
That's
impressive. Score that one. Yeah, score that one. So.
Those are the kind of fun things you get with junior high. Well, one of the things that you said was, the players nowadays like to kind of know why, right? They want the why behind. I think a lot of that has to do with that they have at their fingertips so much why. I Google it, right, or go get it on.
Right.
Not that Google's got the answer to everything; it has an answer, right? So I always tell my players.
Yeah, that's right.
When they ask me a question, they're like, I tell you, I got an answer. I always have an answer. I can't tell you if it's the correct one, but I can tell you I got an answer. I'm just like Google.
Right.
But that's the thing that I think that part of that comes out of is this that ability to be, if we wanted to know something, Coach, I don't know about you. I was told to go to a card catalog, and I didn't have time to go to a card catalog, so
Yeah.
I just left it unanswered most of the time.
Yeah.
But we see that as well. But I think that, like you said, it's at least from my perspective, I think it builds a better athlete, a more thinking athlete, if you harness it the right way. What's your thought on coaching? Where in my own program, I've given more through the years, more reins to the on the field generals, so to speak. I'm not going to always say captains, but the players that to make calls, to make adjustments, to make audibles. Because they seem to, through film and some of these other things we never had when I was playing, not at the level that we have. Have you done any of that or seen a transition, or do you still keep it pretty tight to the vest? And do you still call everything, or coaches call everything from the sideline?
I give them the opportunity, especially if they've been in the system, been around for a while. I think it helps to keep their interest, I mean, they know the playbook. They're out there. I tell them all the time, that they can see a little better from, where we're at and in our perspective, just like on the sideline. And, I trust them. And, there's been sometimes when I've, just kind of, I've had to say, no, we're not going to do that.
Yeah.
But a lot of times, like with the young man we had the last couple of years, sometimes I would just tell him what set to go into, and then he would call, like in that series, he would call probably 75% of the plays. He'd stay as long as they're staying within the realm of what we do.
Right.
And he would, if the center was supposed to do this on the play, then he would say, hey, I want you to do this. And why not? Because he knows where he's going to be and he sees it. And whenever they would, sometimes though they can, if they stay in a huddle a long time, they're making something up, and that's when you have to pull the reins on that.
Yeah.
But that that's been successful. I've done that. We call just because of the transition offensively. Both the kids that the offense ran through the last couple of years graduated. So, we've been calling a lot of it this year. But sometimes they'll say, Coach, we got it. Here's something I've noticed is that I want to say probably 70% of the time, it's pretty close to what you would call. So that's just, the kids knowing you and us, kind of being around each other enough. If I had one thing to change, I would get them to run the ball more, especially as a spread back. I think sometimes we rely on just throwing the football too much. And I've had kids that have played spread back and been back there that they're so unselfish and want to get everybody the ball that they'll sacrifice yardage running to throw the ball. And sometimes it doesn't work out very good. I'm like, we're in a hole now, but you had 30 yards you could have ran for. Yeah, but I was trying to get him the ball. He's wide open.
Yeah.
But I don't mind doing that. I think that sometimes I've learned that sometimes you can give them a little bit too much. So you got to find that fine line within the group of kids that you're working with on what you want to give them, because, they are young men. So, whatever you give them, they're going to try to take a little bit more. So they could turn those freedoms into something else as well, So I have to guard against that. But I have no problem with, kids that I've been around, been in the program a while. because they see all that, giving them a little freedom to call some plays here or there.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way, Coach. I've through the years gotten more. Again, yeah, you're not allowed to draw the play up in the huddle. I like the analogy that. Yeah, I'm gonna have to start watching that. We don't huddle a lot anyway. But from my perspective, it's like if they're huddling, I probably should.
Right. There you go.
That in and of it. Well, and recently, we'll huddle and run clock when we know that we just need to, games to make a game go faster, right? Well, there are times you just need to get out of games because you're up or whatever that But so we'll do that. But anytime anybody looks like they're drawing stuff on somebody else's chest, that's probably a time to call a timeout.
Right. That's right.
Yeah, you're not allowed to write on your brother's chest. That's
yeah. And better not see a pen and a piece of paper out there.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be something?
That would be. Wouldn't put it past some of my guys, but yeah, that's good stuff. So one of the other things that you've had a lot of success. I mean, that's through the years, and I haven't gone back. I've only been in the 6-man game for about 8 years now, Coach. So I'm a novice at the game, but I did grow up on the cusp of West Texas, out in the Brady area, and so we'd go see Strawn and Richland Springs and Zephyr and some of the other programs growing up. But give me a little bit about what it's like to kind of find yourself, at the top of the game, and then what it means every week, what you're going to get from the opponents. I mean, I'm guessing that it's got to be, everybody's got to be looking to take a shot at you and give you a little bit extra effort that week in practice.
Yeah. Yes. We know this, that we're the measuring stick for people. Even Coach Burns on Friday night, he's telling his kids that, this is, we're going to see where we're at tonight because of who we're playing. I think I might have even told you the last time we talked a little bit, that, some guys that from some very good programs in the private school realm, will call and they'll say the only way we get better is if we play, teams of your caliber. That's how we get better. If we can play with y'all, then we're going to be pretty decent in our league. And the expectations for us are different than the people that we're around. So it's really different, and we got to get ready for people's best all the time. I mean, they're going to always play their best against us. We played, Gorman to start the year, and after the game, there was an old ball coach there. He said, "I've never seen this is the best I've seen Gorman play in years." And I remember when I first came to Milford, those were the really the learning years, because that's when I had my first opportunity to be a head coach, and man, we took my first year here. I was an assistant. We lost in the state semifinals, and I think like 10 kids graduated, and so the next few years we really struggled, and I struggled myself to as a coach, because I was in my hometown and still being on the young end of things. People would always think that they could tell the kids and me what to do.
Yeah.
And as a result, I mean, we didn't have much success. I mean, we were 500 ball clubs, but I think right at the end of my 8th, 9th year coaching, head coach, you know, we started having a little bit of success. It's because people left us alone. And then I went to Rising Star. I think that was the trigger point for for me, and my whole, I think, philosophy of things kind of started changing. Whenever I came back to Milford, I was able to, you know, implement that and being, you know, in identity with myself and my ball teams about what we would do. And, you know, like over the years, I had some wonderful experiences in discussions with other coaches about things, and you learn about how to handle yourself, and you learn ideas. And so, you know, we just kind of evolved into doing what we do. But you know, it was a struggle at first. I mean, a big struggle. We had to really find who we are. And, you know, like I said, people just, and they wouldn't leave us alone. Kids would come to school on Monday and come to practice, and then you couldn't get them back into the right mind of thinking until, you know, maybe Tuesday or Wednesday of the week. So, you know, now you're ready to play a game, you know?
Yeah.
And whenever all that kind of went away, then, and then, you know, being there a while, you know, you had a group of kids that came up and they believed in what you were, you know, tell them and talk about. And, you know, that made a big difference as well. But I think, you know, whenever I left to go to Rising Star for 2 years and came back, that was the point that kind of helped me to grow up a little bit and grow into, you know, kind of what we do now. So,
well, what would be the pillars of what you do now? That, I mean, if you say, you know, we're going to do these things, and I don't mean, you know, offense, defense. I mean, just what are the things that you kind of say, you know, these are the pillars to our success. We're not going to change. This is who we are. I think I've heard you say a few times, this is who we are and who we intend to be, but that are culturally important, that go beyond the X's and O's, so to speak. And how do you instill those in the program?
Oh, well, I mean, I don't know, the first thing when you said that, it came to mind was, you know, I think we need people to be versatile, you know, and that goes both ways. And I tell them, and it helps open doors and in life, but it also helps, you know, the program as well. The more versatile you are in things, the more staying power you have, you know. Communicate. We're really working on that. And, you know, it goes back to the generation that, you know, you talk about Google. You know, kids think that they're communicating by text message and things of that nature. And, you know, I tell them all the time, you know, we didn't talk to anybody. We just texted somebody, but we don't even know if that's the person who we really are texting, you know. So, you know, communication and communication skills, man, are really going out the window. And, believing in themselves, not only believing in themselves, but believing in their teammates. Because a lot of times I think the kids, you know, they sell themselves short on what they can do. And for them to realize that it's bigger than them. That's what we're really working with this group of young men with. Not that they were, you know, just missed it. It's just that, you know, we always had to put it before them that, you know, like I have 2 new coaches on staff that came in from the Metroplex, and they, you know, they had to tell these guys that, you know, all I heard about was, you know, how great Milford is. I heard about this program, mainly the football program. People, they look up to y'all just because you put that suit on and it says Milford across the front, you know. And he's, you know, we just tell them, as, you know, you have to understand that it's bigger than you. It's so much bigger than you that people, you know, when we went to the state championship in 2013, I'd never dreamed of, and I was around when Milford won their first state championships in '79 and '80 in that era, but it didn't really hit me until 2013 when we went that year of what the program really means to the community, that people just come together and the hope that, it brings. So, I think that the faster they learn that, the better off they're going to be, and especially in ball games that are tough, where you're going to have to face adversity, and that carries over into life. If you remember that it's not all about you, it's about the bigger picture in life, and whenever you have opportunities, then you need to make the most of those opportunities, because you never know when you're going to be given another chance. So, I mean, I think those are some things that we can take and work in our life that will help us to be successful.
Well, those are good words, Coach. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. It's one of the things that we sew into our little program, since our guys come from we cover a 4-county region. So, but there are a lot of people who over that 4-county region that help make us who we are by just, providing so much. And, yeah, and like you said, it's bigger than you. There are a lot more people invested in this and helping you even give you this opportunity. Be grateful and thankful and do your part, right? Play your role.
Oh, yeah.
In the process, because that's what you're a part of something, and you're not it. You're just part of it. We try to preach that as well. So, Coach, at this point, we're gonna say goodbye to our folks that are on the podcast side of the program, and then we will continue on here in a second with the video portion. So for those of you that are on the podcast, this is where we'll part ways. We thank you. Please share, let your friends know about sixes1.com. We do this every week, sometimes twice a week, where we just get together with coaches and try to just get better and better understand the game of six-man football. So we thank you, and y'all have a good night. Welcome back to Sixes One. We're back with Coach Crumpton from Milford, and we're going to go through some film here. And what we have, Coach has been kind enough to bring up. This is Oakwood, correct, Coach?
Yes, sir.
So they're visitors here in this game. So give me a little bit. So this is just diamond spread. And we're going to roll through here. I'm out of curiosity, do you always, and this is one, you always snap, if you snap to the, well, I don't know, let's just say you're snapping to the right up back if we're looking at it, are we always running left, or do you ever vary that?
Well, I can't remember which, the left up back is the one that gets most of it, but if we're going to read to the left, it's just easier for that kid to get it, the kid on the right. So, I don't want to tip anybody off. So most of the time, the same guy's going to catch the snap. So, but if we are going the opposite way, then the opposite guy will get it. Now you can see, This is a guy this kid, not really a quarterback, he's a good running back, but you can tell the nerves are with him because we obviously took a loss right there.
Well, yeah, I mean, I just always interested because I asked that because I've started recently because we're getting too predictable when we're not in diamond much, but when we are, if that's a cue that I saw when we were defensing other people, that if you snap to the up back and you hard swept away from it, it was an always thing, right? So
yeah, right.
So what we started doing is having that backside in crash hard, right? Too hard. I mean, right. if you had, let's say you in that last play, you snapped to that left side, that up back on one side, and decided to go, that same direction, you'd have caught us, right? Because we would have been flying to beat the. So I realized that if that would have screwed us up, I bet you if we do that to other teams, it'll mess them up. So we started changing it a little. So now here you are deep, sir. What's your thought process on? You're about 7 here and then 4 behind, right?
Yes, sir. Yes. I mean, I've seen people deeper. I usually like somewhere in there, no more than 12 yards. So that's about where he's at.
Okay.
If we get the quarterback any closer, then you can see that those guys would be on him by the time he turned back around. So I tell them to make sure they get, 6, 7 yards back there. And then depending on the guys that we have back there, 10 yards. I mean, another 3 yards behind the quarterback's good for us. Sometimes a little bit further.
And what do you tell the Q? Because the Q looks here like he's got a run pass option, but he's told to go run first. Is that what you typically do, or do you?
Yes. And if well, this play right here in particular is a running play that we can throw off of as like we can, but we like to run it. We call it middle blast.
Okay.
And he just that kid right there is about 6'3", 200 pounds.
Yeah,
so,
he's a big old boy.
As you can see, we got 2 guys blocking.
Yeah, they
here's
those guys off.
The other problem is not if you look at the next kid that's on that kid right there you just pointed to.
Yeah, right here. Yeah.
That he's supposed to be blocking that middle linebacker. I don't know why he went downfield.
Yeah. He's supposed to be back here blocking this guy here.
Yeah. Yes. And so it's called middle blast. And so we block the 2 guys that were rushing, and he hits that middle linebacker, and then the kid comes out there and just does the rest.
Beat this guy basically instead of having to beat.
Yes.
That guy. Yeah.
Yes, because the 2 outside guys will be covered, or they can block. And then we come off of that and run the 2 outside guys straight down the field. So whenever he hits the line of scrimmage or approaches the line of scrimmage, then he has a chance to throw the deep ball.
Yeah. See, he's watching the running back.
Yeah.
You need to get him a ticket, Coach. He needs a ticket for the game.
Yeah. I know. Yeah. I have to tell him about that. And you know what? He's a pretty good blocker.
Now he's just trying to get out of the way.
Yeah. And I'm sure that kid told him to, because he doesn't mind telling them. So.
Well, so now you're in a wing tee. So that's another question, because you went diamond, you went, I guess, shotgun jaybirds. What that look like?
It was we call it a pro set, because we had two split outs.
Okay.
A guy split out on each side. So, and then this is our T formation.
T formation, right?
Yes, sir.
So, but I've noticed you're bouncing. It's like 3 plays, 3 different sets. Is that common for you to go into?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, we and we try to stay the same in all the sets. We don't vary a whole lot, and I mean we still have the same calls. It's just it's just how people line up, and whatever gives us the better advantage. This is new to us this year. This group they don't mind going under center. And I will say, remember the kid that wasn't blocking? That's him running in the end zone.
Oh, that's him running in the end zone now. Yeah, you put
it
him in
is.
the backfield. Okay.
Yes. And I got tickled at the kids, because both those backs together are 500 pounds. So that's our 500 series.
I like that.
So
Coach, that'd take half my team to get to 500. And that might be with some weighted vests.
Right. Okay. We have some of those, but most of these guys on the field right now, except for that 25 right there, they've been on the field with me for
good while.
Now 6 years, 7 years.
Well, let me ask on the kick. So and this is I love all aspects of the game, especially I think special teams are the one area we probably work on the most, just because I think I just can't imagine giving up 2 points every time.
Right.
It's just amazing. I've watched teams lose so many ball games because they might score 6, 7 times and leave 14 points on the field. But now when you're kicking here, it's a direct snap back. It looks about 6 yards. Do you vary this ever, or is this always the way that you're format? The reason I ask is that we've got, one coach gave me that where they put everybody to one side of the center, and then they snap the ball at an angle back kind of to the middle.
I've seen it. I've seen it done. I've seen it done. Yeah, we've typically lined up like this, and then we either block left and swing right, or block right, and then the guy just stays there. Here's what I've learned though: if you have somebody that can get the ball back there,
yeah,
and a kid that can pop that ball up off the tee, it's gonna you're gonna make 90% of them, because nobody's gonna be able to get
there. But yeah, now, that's what I felt too. Yeah,
and our snapper this year isn't quite what he has been. This kid is kicked. Well, here's that kid that we singled out a while ago that just ran in the end zone, and he's kicking.
Yeah.
He has a boot on him. I mean, he can kick the ball. But we have, starting this week, we've gotten our all-region kicker back, and plus a kid that's a freshman that was in junior high putting the ball inside the 10 on kickoff. So
now
we're really sure up.
Now, do you kick deep, or when you have it, or is it just?
I love to kick deep. I love to kick deep because my philosophy on defense is bend but don't break. I think that I want you to prove to me that you can walk the ball down the field all night without making mistakes, and I don't believe you can do it.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
And I believe inside the 20 is we become really good. So, but in particular, right here, Oakwood had a kid that was probably 5 or 10 yards faster than anything we had, and we weren't going to kick it to him.
Yeah, and
that's right.
Yeah, what we're blessed this year with a kid that can kick it out of the back. When I say out of the back of the end zone, I mean 5 yards behind the end line every time.
Right.
And so we played Calvert, and they had one of those kids, right? And I basically, we just kicked it out of the back of the end zone. I mean, we liked it.
And we got one onside, but and then we started playing mind games with them because they'd start bringing him up, and then whenever they did that, then we'd pooch it deep, different things like that. So
yeah, wherever he is, kick it wherever he isn't, right? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So defensively, do you like the 4-2? Is that kind of what your base defense is, or is this just because of the formation they're in?
The formation. I'm normally a 33 guy, but we've been running a lot more 4-2 here lately. So main reason is 11 and 9. Those two guys in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
They're as good as they come in the middle, as you can see right there.
Yeah.
So that number 9, he's 260 pounds, but
he can move.
He can move, and then that other one is our spread back that's bumping through there. So he's 200 pounder. So that's and we do different things out of it. If you'll roll that back,
yeah,
I can. So some of the things that we can do out of this is see the two guys in the back there.
Yeah,
those two guys. If it's passing downs, they can cover deep halves, and then the two outside guys will have
drop back
deep underneath
the flats
halves.
Yeah, kind of flats like that. Yeah.
Yes, and then we can send the outside guys and let the inside guys sit
drop back. Yeah.
Yes.
So you can drop the flat to the flat and then deep and deep. Yeah.
Yes, and then the other thing that I don't know if you want to know all this, but
no, that's what we're talking about. We don't care about the play itself.
Yeah, the other thing that you can do is you can just roll it so they're coming to this side. Well, the guy the corner on this side in the back
come up.
He has flats.
Okay.
The other guy can rotate back, and the other defensive end can replace that corner.
The flats, yeah.
Somewhere like that,
And then
what I like about it is they all have their eyes in the backfield, so you're going to see kids coming out for passes. And if there's a reverse, all they got to do is put their foot in the ground, and then we just roll that coverage back the other way.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
well, and you know,
I mean,
penetration kills. So
it does.
the ability to, you know, the ball I think was snapped. Yeah, it always is snapped where the guy's standing. You're two, you know, we're less than a second into the play, maybe a second and a half, and you're already got two guys that are 2 yards deep and another one coming. So, you know, that it's just, you know, and this is what I always preach, because you have varying speeds within your, you know, your skill set, right? The point is to always be at the same place at the same time, you know, because if this guy's over here and this guy's over here and that guy's still back here, well, we've created huge lanes, right? So, and this is what's nice about this is because these guys, you want three guys at the point of attack, one on each side and one up the middle, right? We call it mirroring. And you know, here's this guy waiting for the pop. You know, if that guy were to ever stop and pop, where he's supposed to be, and he's
shoulders parallel.
Yeah.
I like shoulders parallel.
Yeah. We teach, and I'm interesting because on these defensive ends or the setting side, we teach 45 degrees. So we we're kind of almost where this kid is. He's about to get, but the thought process, you don't want to be 90. You know, you don't want to be up because they'll just.
If your butt's to the sideline, then you're in trouble.
Yeah, right. But if we teach the middle guys to be parallel. If we might have one on a play or two on the play, depending upon what the package is. But you know, we want this to kind of where you can jump back this way, but you can still jump outside to catch, you know, to help make the guy pop, right? You know, we can't let him just scrape off the edge, right? That's always our deal. You can't scrape off the edge. You gotta make him at least kind of go around you, right? Kind of type deal. I'm screwing up in my little, but you know, for us, we're always like, you know, he's got to bop out like this if he's going to try to get around. He can't.
Yes. Bubble.
Yeah, bubble around us.
Yeah.
Because if he doesn't, then we got people that can come up and make a play.
Well, we're in good shape right there.
Yeah, no, this is perfect. This is
really
what
good shape.
Well, and you know, that's one of those things is that this is well played because you catch him at about 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage. I guess the thing that I always have a harder time with younger players is they may be athletically gifted and they can get up that field real fast, right? But they outrun what their brother is in the middle, right? So if the guy in the middle is only 2 yards deep and you're 6, well, what good does it do that you're 6? Great, wonderful. You created a huge hole for them to run through. So, you know, it's always not just about how good an athlete you are; it's how good can you play within, you know, the team where your brother is and his. It's always great if you can have 4 of them that can do it. So here we go, sweep coming the other way. You know, we'd call this the edge guy. His job's to make sure that guy doesn't bounce. I'm sure that's probably what you're coaching him to. And this we call position A. What I was telling you at 45, right? Because you know he's not 90 and he's not completely mirrored flat, but he's kind of 45 where he can still keep an outside arm. That's perfect the way we would coach. This guy we would say to get flat. Needs to get, you know, so that he can take on that blocker and slow the guy down. And then we would say on our end, that backside end should be trailing and closing. And it looks like here he jumps inside a little bit.
He did. He come on up. And,
And
then our outside guy stayed engaged with the blocker too long.
Yeah, and let him, you know, get a little bit around the outside. Yeah, if he had forced him back in and the guy had stayed flat, you'd had another stop right about there.
Right.
Yeah. But, you know, that's, let's see, one more and we'll go up.
They came out, you know, in this set. And wouldn't. Now here, you know, we were supposed to have 2 guys coming, but one decided not to come. So, and the defensive end on this side, he's still learning.
Yeah, so he thinks supposed to be pass coverage or something?
Yes, remember I said we do 2 underneath? Right here, you see all 3 of them are sitting there underneath.
Yeah, somebody forgot who's supposed to be going.
Yeah, yeah. And so it still ended up, I think, not bad.
Yeah, we're fine because he's not seeing this guy, and here's a guy coming up to cover it up anyway.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, that's just that's just kind of a little more, you know, instinct than anything else. Because I would, I'd tell you that, this one of those guys. You don't want two guys in the center of the field with nobody near them. Yeah, I mean, not in six man.
Right, I know.
I'm gonna jump.
I'm trying to see they run a different set. Oh yeah, this one. Now, that other set.
Yeah. Oh, the one back there. Yeah.
The one that you slipped. Now this one right here. If you'll pause it for a second. Now they typically don't run it the way everybody else would end up running it. So, but go ahead. You can run it through and you'll see how they run it.
So they're going to scatter out of it. It's pretty much an automatic scatter.
And then try to dump to those guys.
Try to dump to the scatter back. And then well, and I've seen this actually one time. We've got, I don't know if it's Summit Academy. One of them does that. And then what they do with that center is that they try to get it out to the scatter back right about, that pass kind of catching him right here. And then when this guy comes up, they like to crack with that guy.
Okay.
Right behind him. I mean, this guy's a whole deal is to watch which side it was thrown to and block the guy coming for him, block the backer.
Wow.
And
well, they really didn't do that, but I'll tell you that kid that just threw the ball is the kid that's 5 yards faster than anybody on the field. So I was like, he's not going to beat us.
Yeah.
So we can see we sent 3, and their whole job was just him.
Yeah. And make sure he doesn't beat you. Yeah.
And I knew that once he threw it, he was going to have to throw it either to the right or left in the flat. So I told those guys, they're just nearly too deep.
Yeah.
So it worked out for us.
Yeah. You have to choose where you're going to, what you want to give up, right? I mean, that's always that's why we play defense.
And you going back to extra points, if we would have hit all our extra points, we would have been getting on the bus at halftime.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Always, it's amazing how well when you're in a game, but it's people don't understand with 11 man when you may score, you may only kick 4 extra points a game. That's still a 28 point. That's a lot of points in 11. But it's 6 man. You can kick 12 times a game. I mean, prayerfully you don't. I mean, that's you're playing better defense, but you can. But that's 20 some odd points that you're potentially leaving off the board if you can't kick or kick well.
Right. That's right.
It's just a bigger portion of the game. I mean, we kick field goals. We played Sterling City last year, and we're in that game because we hit 2 field goals. We bogged down on 4th down. It's 4th down and 10 plus, but we come away with 4 points. That's still,
That's right.
That's better than it's better than you giving them the ball back again at the 15 or 20 yard line.
Right.
So back to your wing tee. We'll line up with a little offense here, Coach. Now, this is just straight, is straight sweep. What I'm curious here with your line. You get to the second level with that end. Is that his job? He's not kicking out.
Well, since we're coming his side, I tell him that. I mean, I don't. That's a hard block. So. Our base rule is head up, gap away. So he's just, and that kid's still learning. So that guy was the middle linebacker at first. So I guess, he figured I need to go get him, which would have been the correct block.
So this kid right now, I don't think he can do this anymore, Coach. Is he allowed to do that?
Cut block. They didn't call it.
I know they didn't. I know. I mean, we used to coach that and teach that a lot, just a ton. But I've gotten too many officials where I can't trust the officials anymore to give me a consistent.
I haven't heard you can't cut like that.
Well, no. What I've heard is you can engage high and then slide to low. Is what I've been told. Yeah. But if you come in just initially and go low. Outside of the tackle box, when you get outside the edge, then it's a no-go. So what we've been coaching guys is to hit them high, if it's a smaller guy, right, that we need to get and then go low, right? And make sure you get hands on chest and then roll. But it's a harder block doing it that way. It's right. It really is. It's kind of just if you're at that point, just hit them. you know,
Right.
just get in their grill.
Yeah. Well, they haven't said anything to us. So,
Yeah,
like you said, it's getting consistent.
yeah. I just, yeah, my whole thing is trying to figure out what I'm having a hard time with these calls on concussion type calls. I guess whether the helmet to the. I was watching film, Coach, with a team we're going to be playing. I have no dog in the in the fight, so to speak, right, between two teams that we're playing. I just got the film, and I see a one player A catch the ball on offense on a little bubble route, shoulders square to the cue, and he sees the linebacker coming and he ducks. The kid that's receiving the ball is probably 5'7". The kid tackling is about 6'2", like kind of like your big guy there, right? Guy ducks. Big kid hits him with a shoulder pad up at around the helmet area, right? But I mean, the kid ducked, and he really just kind of goes over the top of him. But his shoulder pad catches the kid at the helmet. They eject the kid from the game. I was like, I actually sent that. I can't for the life of me figure out how y'all are calling. And I called the coach and I asked him. The coach said, you know what they said to the coach? They said, well, it made a loud noise. I was like, what does that have to do with the price of rice in China?
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm getting a little. It's just getting harder. I mean, that's why I think it goes back to what we were talking to in the first part of this. You got to have kids that can play multiple positions because, they're basically making it much more difficult and much more subjective as to who you're going to have on the field each week simply because of some calls that, 5 years ago would never be called, nothing more than maybe a personal foul.
Right. They're making it a soft sport.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I mean, and that's it's just beyond me because it's not what it's intended to be. And it's my biggest complaint, Coach, has always been, the ones where you're in the tackle box, the high-low. Remember the old high-low block that I don't.
Right.
I said that block would take people where you can't walk for the rest of your life straight. Right. I mean, that's still a block that if it happens on a field is a 15-yard penalty. I can tell you right now that is a much more vicious life, a block that's gonna hurt your life more than a shoulder pad to the helmet. I mean, it's just because none of us have the dollars to put all of our kids in $500, $1,000 knee braces on both legs. It's just we don't have that, and that's what did away with it at the college and professional level is the equipment. But I don't know about you, but it's all I can do to get helmets, shoulder pads, and pants on my boys. So I don't have a lot of extra budget for $1,000 knee braces. But my point, I guess, is, Coach, it's this idea that we'll allow that block and give it a 15-yard penalty and kick nobody out of anything. And I'm not saying any coaches out there coaching it or encouraging it, but the point is that one has more physical ramifications if we're really caring about the safety of players than the block up high. Because believe it or not, that kid's wearing something that you could wear on a motorcycle and survive at a crash going 80 miles an hour, right? I mean, so and he's got nothing on his knees. But anyway, I digress. I'll get off my soapbox, Coach. Probably shouldn't. But we will. Thank you for taking the time. I truly appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
We always like going through with coaches and see, what their thought processes are, and I picked up a couple of things, and hopefully some of the others will too. Best of luck for the rest of your season. Who do you have this week, Coach?
We play the Strong Greyhounds.
Oh, you do play Strong. All right.
We do. Yes, we got a tough couple of weeks. We play White Deer the week after. So.
Yeah.
We'll see where we're at.
Yeah, that will. Well, like I said, Strong they may have been looking ahead to you, Coach, because they had all they could chew on this last week with the Bromphils. So
that's what I understand. So I got to get the
film and see.
I got to really look at it, and see what's going on. But I think he's got a guy or two that are out. Plus, they're young, and and then we're going to have a couple of guys out too. So We'll see how it is. I mean, that's experience for other people.
Yep. Yep. You always got to look at it as an opportunity for everybody. And like you said, everybody needs to play more than one position because.
That's right.
I mean,
yeah, we'll learn a lot about some kids.
Yeah, I understand. Well, thank you again for your time.
Next couple of weeks. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yep. And for all those you that are came on for watch the second half of it, we appreciate your patronage. Again, feel free to share and let other people know about sixes1.com. And we'll look forward to seeing y'all again next week. God bless.